Welcome to Great Talking Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the YouTube channel where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back to the YouTube channel, everyone, as we continue on the new series by Netflix called Bet, based on the anime called Kakaguri. And this is episode 4, spoiler review. If you have not seen this season yet, or this particular episode, please pause this. But before you go, could you hit that thumbs up button? That would totally help my YouTube channel out for more viewers, more subscribers, and much more. So I just appreciate if you hit that thumbs up button. Go watch it, come back, let me know how you feel about this series, season 1, and this episode particularly in the comments below. I would love to hear your feedback on it. So again, this is a spoiler review. Y'all been warned. Now let's get into it. Episode 4 continues on as Yumiko is stabbing Blake's father, but luckily it was just all in her head. So basically, the cliffhanger was Yumiko was just daydreaming of doing that. But in reality, this is the moment where, in this whole episode, honestly, we see Yumiko at the moment. This is kind of like life is coming at her like, okay, let's see, you say all this stuff, you're doing all this. Let's see, you can back this up. You know, it's talk is cheap scenario. And that's the idea of the way they presented this episode. You'll feel the passion, you'll feel bad for her, but you also, in this episode, you're hoping that she doesn't do what she's thinking about doing. You kind of hope that maybe there's a better option, but you also want to see if she's going to go through it. And you know, this is a very emotional episode for her, and watch her struggle with this, as you know, this is like about gambling, and all gamblers, real good gamblers, professionals, pros, whatever you want to call them, they all know how to have a good poker face. So to see her not have a good quote unquote poker face is really interesting to see in this one, as you know, the reality's kicking in for her. And you know, she was eager to get revenge. And you know, again, I thought this was dark and gritty at the point, you know, just like the anime would. You know, Blake is actually the stepdaughter to Raymond Rowe. And so, and we see like she's the type of child who's just trying to win his approval. And she's just trying to be her best at everything. And Yumiko kind of sees that. But that's the thing that is showing Yumiko's kind of like a weak poker face, because she doesn't want to hurt Blake's feelings, because you see Blake trying really hard to be good at performing at this particular instrument, which I forget the name of it, so I apologize. But the musical instrument that she's playing, she's really trying her hardest. And you know, Yumiko does have soft and kindness to her. So you see her struggle with that, but, you know, that kind of goes away when Blake's boyfriend, Chad, shows up and he meets up with the daughter. And then we also see in this episode, there's a bet that Ryan will lose his virginity by midnight, which this is like an interesting thing. But I also like the idea of showing that Ryan is somewhat the true hero, and he's not going to let nothing and nobody ever break him down for a bet. And, you know, he wants to prove everybody wrong, and he doesn't want to lose his virginity in this particular way, as we see so many women try to convince him. We even see Mary try to do this as well, which is pretty interesting, but she's willing to lie. But we all know that she betted on him. for sure. And we also learn that Kira and Ria's father has a favoritism to Riri, and she obviously is the favorite to the father. And we can see Kira is very upset about that, and she's even like the vice president, and Kira is the president of this thing. So it's kind of like, oh, another gift for you. And we know that she has a love interest for Mary, and Mary does too. And it's really simple. And I know this one's based off of the character in I think it's Riaka, and I hope I said that correctly. Which in this one she wears a face mask, like a COVID mask that you wear during COVID. But in the anime, she wears an all white mask, kind of like a Shy Guy from Nintendo. And so there's that difference, but she's very quiet, and she hasn't really talked. In the anime series, we know how she is when she takes off the mask, and she's very sweet, like a little sister type vibe, sweet in anime. But in this one, we have no idea. She's very quiet, and she never talked through the whole season so far. So it's very interesting to see where they're going to take this character. But she has a secret that Kira doesn't even know, which we'll get to the end of this. But we see that, and then later on we see that Yumiko is making a homemade bomb, and of course Michael finds out, but he thinks this is crazy and she shouldn't do it, but he agrees to help her make the bomb, because this really shows that he has feelings for Yumiko, and that he's willing to do whatever she wants him to do for her love, for her attention, even though Dory has a thing for Michael. And it's really interesting that I feel like, just based off of this episode, I think there's going to be a rival between Michael and Ryan over Yumiko in the future. And I think that this is going to show who's willing to do more for Yumiko, but they both have limits, as we see through this episode, because we'll get to that later, but in this particular scene, he does this and he knows how to do it, which is very interesting. How does he know how to make a homemade bomb? He's probably just a smart guy, and he probably read a lot of books in the library, is where they're going to present this. But he's willing to do this. And then we go back to, again, Ryan, who are a bunch of women who want to see Ryan lose his V card, but Mary changes his up, and now he's just the psycho killer, as we learn that she has told everybody about the rumor of him losing his mind and murdering his father, supposedly. And, there's a little crash out going on there. And I think that's I think that was a really interesting thing. But Mary was going to say, let's just lie, but we're seeing that Ryan does not want to lose his virginity because he's in love with Yumiko, and he wants to save that moment for her. There's even a scene where Yumiko and Mary agree that, okay, we'll do this bet. I'll take his virginity. And even then, again, we know Michael has a limit, but Ryan has a limit too. As bad as he wanted to sleep with her, he did not, because he has morals, he has pride, and he's not going to let a whole school dictate his virginity. And that just shows him being very heroic. He's the hero of this show. And it just shows to you that not everybody is willing to really play. Everybody does have a limit. And this kind of is similar to the anime as well, where Ryan's based off of a few characters like that in the anime series, but he's standing up for himself, just like the a few other male anime characters in that show, based off of it, have a limit. And so, I think what they're trying to explain here is that Yumiko could learn from these two with their limits. So for Michael, we learn in this episode, at close to the end of this episode, that he didn't make the bomb explode, and she was just devastated. She was heartbroken. She was sad. She was willing to chase Blake's father down, right? And maybe do the things she thought about with the scissors, stabbing him. And with Ryan, Yumiko was kind of like shocked, like, what is this? But it made her realize, like, as bad as you want something, sometimes it's just not worth it at all. Sometimes the situation is not going to help you. It's not going to benefit you. It's not going to help you grow or move on when you're grieving over a loss of death. And for her, it's her parents. So there's a message, a life lesson that she learns from them. And Michael cares for her so much that he did that, even though that if he would have done this, in his mind, he knows that Yumiko would have been like falling madly in love with him. That's what he probably thinks or hopes. And he's pretty confident of that because he's willing to do that. There's something about Yumiko, these two characters, Michael and Ryan, really do have feelings for her, and they have a crush on her, or they're just in love with her, basically. And so, but even those two guys are not willing to do this, and that's their limit. And so somebody blew up the vehicle that Blake and her stepdad, Raymond, Rowe, and detonated a bomb. And she was so shocked that somebody took her death. And we learned that it was Kira and Riri's father. And Riri planted the bomb underneath the vehicle. But why? Who knows? But whatever it was, it stopped Yumiko getting her revenge. But once she saw it, reality hit her, as we see, like, her face is pale, shocked, obviously, and she lost her roommate. And what was really interesting about that is, why was it like that? Why did the sister's father, Riri, and Kira's dad wanted that? And how did he know does he even know what's going on? Which I'm pretty sure not. But because Yumiko's keeping this pretty good of a secret, and only a few people know about this, which is Ryan and Michael, and they're not going to say a thing because they're in love with her. And so it was a shocking plot twist to it, and I liked the ending to it. And I really like this episode is because, again, we're seeing these three characters, Ryan, Michael, and Yumiko. We're seeing them struggle. We're seeing them, not have a good poker face, basically. We're seeing that maybe there's a different route. There's a better way. There's a better answer to handle this situation and to stop this corruption that has been going on within this school, And we also see that Yumiko is a true leader, and if she would have done this, that her leadership would have went away. Nobody would have faith in her. People would have not trust her, And I think Michael knows that, and I think Ryan knows that as well, because one, he obviously wants this to be a genuine thing to, loses virginity to is Yumiko. But I think he also knows too that if she would have done this and won the bet, people would have lost respect for Yumiko in a way. And so this really thing is that Yumiko is not realizing yet that these two guys are looking out for her in the best interest, especially for what's going on within this school. And so this is a very powerful message. And I think in this episode, it really shows case Yumiko realizing it. And I think in the next episode that we probably see her learn from this and grow from this. But it also starts, again, I think there's going to be a rival between Michael and Ryan for Yumiko. And there's so much more deeper what's going on in the life of Kira and Riri, and which is very interesting. I know in the anime series that they're pretty close. They have a tight bond, but this one they're kind of like, Kira has resentment towards her little sister Riri, which is it's pretty fair and reasonable due to the way the father is in this, who we never seen yet. But I believe that we're going to see what Yumiko needs to learn about these two to take down, this high elite level of a council within this school. So that's pretty interesting. And that's what I like about it too. What I really like about this episode is the two things is, one, watching Yumiko come to realize that maybe she needs to come at this differently. Maybe it's just better to expose them. And then the second of all is I really like the mystery that's going on. Like there's another story, brewing within this series, and it's really exciting to see what's going to happen next. And it's really excited of the why. Why is Riri doing this? Why is Kira out of the known of this? And why is their father planned this? And it's going to be very interesting about it. And that's what I think is the thing that keeps you want to watch the next episode, is things like that. And this plot story twist of it is really good. I thought they execute this very well. And I thought the life lesson out of Yumiko's experience in this was really, 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 really told well. And that was the best part of it. And I also like Mary also showing a softer side. It was also Ryan's birthday in this episode. And, she got him a cupcake. And, this shows that maybe she even felt guilty and felt bad for doing this because she see how strong Ryan is, and it's very heroic. And maybe it's trying to, instead of corrupt the hero, you become influenced by the hero and want to change way to do good. And that's what's really cool about that too. I also liked about it. So this was a really good episode. And if I had to give it a 1 out of 10, I'm definitely giving this an 8. Really good. It didn't really give you that anime feel. This, to me, felt like a Riverdale or just a teenage drama series about it. But it had a little bit of anime element to it at the end. But I thought it was well done, and I thought this episode was well put together, and I thought it was executed right. So it was a really excellent episode, and it's probably one of the better ones so far out of 4 episodes. It's very exciting, and there's more to come. So it's really good. I mean, I like the fact they keep the audience very interested in it and makes them want to see what's next in the next episode. So I think it's done well. And does Yumiko get another roommate? Who knows? But it'd be interesting. Who would it be? Could be somebody who could be a spy, but you never know. But I like where it's going, and it also shows that Kira is now more eager to uh take down Yumiko. You know, maybe now it's making Kira a little nervous, a little anxious. So much to go on, but that's my review, y'all. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment Official channel. Subscribe and always hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace out.